What's going on, everybody? So today we're going over what's wrong with the other WJ, the black one we're putting into an overland rig. So for starters, as you guys can see, all the other Jeeps are done basically. So that's why it's time to get working on this one. We spent all our time on the other ones, so it's time to get to this one. As you guys can see, for starters, we're going to need some tires. These are not only bald, but also losing air. So basically the worst two things that can happen to your tires. So we're going to need a new set. These are actually just Rubicon takeoffs off of a Jeep like that. So we're going to go ahead, order a new set probably, or find some on Facebook Marketplace. Get this all set up with some new wheels and tires so we can move it around. Next up is actually the biggest thing that's wrong with it is I accidentally broke off a bunch of bolts on the transmission crossmember when I was doing the frame stiffeners. So we're going to go ahead and have to drill those out. I do have the crossmember, however, ready to go in. I have two of them actually laying over here from both of the Jeeps. We're going to use the one off the blue Jeep actually because it's in better condition. But we'll get that thrown in there. And then honestly, once that's done, we'll probably pull it in the garage so we can get some work done on it. And get everything set up because this is going to need torn apart basically and gone through everything to get set up correctly again. So now moving around to the front, we're having a couple issues actually with like the headlights and everything. So for some reason, there's something wrong with the wiring to where some of the bulbs don't work all the time and everything. The bulbs are actually good. I switched them out with new ones, switched them into the other Jeeps. The bulbs themselves are good, so I'm assuming it's like a wiring issue. So we're going to have to go through all of that and just figure out what the problem is. I don't think it'll be too bad, just one of those things that kind of sucks to go through and figure out. I hate doing anything related to wiring, but we're going to go ahead and go through it and check it out. I have new headlights for it in the garage ready to go on. So it shouldn't be too big of a deal to get everything set up correctly. Also on the front, the windshield is, I'm not sure if it's going to show up on camera real well, cracked in like 4 different places though, so we're going to need a new windshield. Also, a lot of this like seals and everything, they're just junk and they've fallen off and they're just old. So we're going to have to get new seals for a lot of stuff and just get everything figured out. It's not leaking water or anything, which is good, but we're going to have to get that taken care of. You guys can also see while we're on windows is I may or may not have oversprayed quite a bit onto the windows. Now I'll explain myself on that one. I saw a TikTok and they said you could just scrape it off with a razor blade. As you guys can see, that was a lie and it does not scrape off. So I'm going to go ahead and go through and just take my time and scrape it all clean and get everything set up right. Next up, taillights. As you guys can see, I may or may not have also oversprayed onto those. That was on purpose though. As you guys can see, these are just old taillights. They're messed up. They're just the factory ones, so I wasn't too worried about them. We're actually going to replace them with the ones on the blue WJ because I'm getting new taillights for this one. These are actually in really good condition, so we'll go ahead and throw them on here, get them all set up correctly, and make sure it all works there. Next up is kind of just the suspension as a whole. So I have the Bilstein shocks on here. They were great while they lasted. No problem with them, but they're just old and worn out, so it's going to be time to replace those. The whole suspension honestly just needs a refresh. The Jeep was built when I was in high school, so like 4 or 5 years ago, maybe 6. So the whole suspension just needs to be gone through, all the bushings replaced. Possibly, honestly, just upgrade the entire suspension because it could use it. It's got an older lift, a budget lift that has the zone off-road lift, which has been great, but it would be nice for an upgrade. So next, the issue started with when I needed some small parts for that, like nuts and bolts and some steering stabilizer brackets and stuff, and then some parts for this one as well. But that led me to taking some parts off of this Jeep. So we're going to have to get a bunch of those little pieces and put them back on. As you guys can see, this Jeep has like almost no lug nuts on it, which, we should probably put those on. So I'm going to have to get just some small stuff like that. It's nothing major. I just took like the stabilizer bracket and stuff like that and put it on the other Jeeps. But there's just a bunch of stuff I have to go through and get it set up and get everything figured out. But once I get that cross member on, I am going to pull it in the garage and just tear this thing apart and get everything set up right. Now on the other side of the Jeep, there's also just some small pieces missing. The fuel cap, I have that in the garage actually. I just never put it back on for some reason. Like a trim piece up here. This is basically just like we'll have to go to the junkyard and find all this stuff. None of the taillights are working. So once I replace them, I'll get new bulbs for all of that stuff. Now, however, on the bright side, this Jeep is still getting built, and I know it looks rough right now, but this Jeep looked way rougher before. And it'll actually be getting built pretty cool into like an overland rig. So the plan is to use this one for like mild trails and like camping and stuff like that. And just get this thing set up to be a pretty cool setup, but nothing crazy, because I'll have my other two Jeeps for stuff like that. Probably add like a rooftop tent, some rock sliders. There's some rust behind there actually, so I'm gonna have to cut that out anyway and replace that. So we're building custom rock sliders for it. I also have some roto packs that we might go ahead and mount them up in the window like some other people have done. I'm not sure there. Another thing is this Jeep's actually getting axle swapped. So the blue one will get the 1-ton axles, and then this one is actually going to get some JK axles. So it'll be the axles that came out of that Jeep. So it's going to be the Dana 30 front and the Dana 44 rear. However, we're going to build them both up and just take you guys through the process of what it takes to axle swap these. I think it'll be really cool to do like a comparison video between a 1-ton swap and a JK axle swap. Price-wise, how capable they are, which one's more worth it, because 1-tons are going to be kind of expensive on this Jeep. But I think that would open up a ton of cool videos for the future for this Jeep. So now that we've gone over everything that is wrong with this Jeep, which I'll be honest is a pretty long list, and then we've also gone over some of the future plans for this Jeep and everything like that, let me know down below in the comments if there's anything you guys in particular would like to see, and maybe we can get that done. But as always, guys, thanks for watching today's video. You guys have been killing it with the support on the past videos, and I'll see you guys in the next one. The next few videos will probably be on the blue one, and then we'll get to work on this one and start getting this one back to running condition.